podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
Between the time when wargamers played with chainmail and the rise of the Wizards of the Coast, there was an age of gamers. And unto this, Gygax, destined to bear the crown jewel of TSR upon a troubled brow, to show you all how to roll for initiative.
The Roll for Initiative podcast, issue number 82, volume 2, or volume 282, whatever you want to call it. I am so-called DM Vince, sitting along so-called DM Will.
Hey, so-called.
So-called, yes.
So-called.
And our extension of a problem, DM Matt.
Hey, everyone.
And that other guy, Blackstone. Oh, wait, I mean Nick.
DM Nick, yes. Hello, everybody.
All right, so back for the show. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room. What's going on? Monty Cook dropping away from D&D Next. Anyone have any speculations on that?
I don't know. It's just, if you read Monty's post about it, he was really vague, but it just sounded like there was some creative differences. Then he had one idea to take it, and either WotC or the other people he was working with had other ideas, and he just decided to no longer be a part of the project. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think according to his post, I think he said it wasn't with the people he was working with, that it was the management from Wizards of the Coast. I guess that's what he was alluding to. So,
Okay.
I look at it like this. You know what? That's great. You know who that's great for? That's great for Paizo, because I think Paizo might hand them, you'll stretch out their hand and say, come on over.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then March 24th, I believe, is when the open play test starts for the common people. So,
May.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes like just they post some documents up like Paizo did for the Pathfinder beta, at which point I'll be able to actually talk about 5th edition.
Yeah, I just found it interesting when I did hear about that Monty Cook left. It just kind of makes me wonder, because didn't he just come on the project maybe 6 months ago or so?
That's when it was announced. Actually, it was longer than that, because we had our first bit of a D&D Next back in January, so that's almost been 6 months.
He wasn't on the project for that long, so
How active was he with the project, Matt?
I thought he was one of the head people. It was him, Robert Schwab, and another person whose name escapes me.
Mike Merles?
Merles is over all of D&D.
yeah.
So he's like, and then it's like Mike Merles and everyone below, and there's like Greg Bisland, I think also came in.
I think with Monty Cook has the attitude of it's my way or no way.
Yeah, who
He's
knows?
He's done enough stuff in his life as far as making books and games that he knows what works and doesn't work, and if he doesn't like something, he'll say it. He's kind of like that guy who he says it when he needs to say it, and if people don't agree with him, he'll just walk away.
And that must say a lot then, just by the simple fact that he's left off D&D Next or D&D 5th edition, wherever the heck they're calling it.
I've seen him once or twice in the past walk away from projects, and I believe we were discussing this the other day, that he has walked away from projects in the past.
Yeah, I think, Monty Cook is an interesting character, and, I'm not going to talk bad about the guy and everything. And, like I said, people have burnt bridges before, and, there could be some issues out there. But I also look at Monty Cook has been a leader or in charge of most of the stuff in the last 10 years or so, because remember now, he had Malhovic Press. Mm-hmm. He's always been in charge of his show. Well, here he is now working there, and he had a contract. He wasn't in charge.
Yeah.
So that could be more of an issue too, as well, because he may not have that. He's been on his own for a long time, and now
More
all
of
a
a
sudden,
power issue.
now he has been, delegated to a lower authority. So now he's taking orders. So he may not have liked that either. So Like I said, he's not going to discuss it. He says he doesn't like drama. So the moment he said that on his thing, that he says he dislikes drama, you already know where it's coming from. It's probably a management issue.
Yeah. I know when I interviewed him back when I was doing Darker Days podcast, when he was doing Monty Cook's World of Darkness, he told him that, just give it to me. Don't worry about it. I'll handle it. And this is how it's going to be done. So, I think it has to do something with that. But, well, best of luck to him. And you can only say that, I mean, if Paizo's listening and everybody... I know. You would think Lisa Stevens would say, "Hey, Money, come on over for dinner tonight." Yeah. Right? I mean, if they got him under the wings of Paizo, they'd be unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I think he needs to go over there. And guess what, Monty? Make adventures. That's all I can tell you. Make adventures, and you're good to go.
Okay. So let's see. First edition reprints pushed back yet again.
To July, right?
Looks like July.
Yeah, July.
I have a feeling it's going to be. They're going to release them at Gen Con. I just have a feeling it's a Gen Con release.
Yeah, I think you may be right too, because it's so close to that time. Why not delay it one more month?
Here are the books at Gen Con. Buy them here. We have some prints. If you want to buy them after the con, go to your local shop and order them.
Oh yeah, they're gonna overprint from what they've actually ordered, and they're gonna have some at the con.
Oh, they have to.
So, I mean, that's kind of a given.
Well, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think you're right though. They're gonna hold it maybe even for one more month for Gen Con release for everybody. So. Whatever.
Did you guys see that our good friend Joseph Block over Adventures Dark and Deep had his Kickstart going? He's got his pretty much almost all funded now.
Oh, he's got a Kickstart going, huh?
I'll put the link in the show notes so Matt can put it up, but he's got a Kickstart going for his, and he's doing pretty good.
This Kickstarter thing for the gaming community, I've seen already several times now how people have been just like within a week, if not just a few days, they get their stuff fully funded. Just like, bam, it's done. Who was it that Pagan Publishing, they did for one of their adventure books last month, I think.
Yeah, something
they did.
Delta Green, I think.
Actually, they are going to do one for Delta Green, but they did one for a set of Call of Cthulhu adventures that aren't dealing with the mythos. It's called Bumps in the Night or something like that. It's like a set of like 6 or 7 scenarios, and they had that, and I was one of the contributors, and it was really cool. They were like done within like 4 or 5 days. Boom, all said and done. This Kickstarter thing is going to be, I think, huge for folks who are trying to produce their own material.
He's actually fully funded 3 times the amount that he needed.
Wow.
What's his total at now?
Almost $7,500.
He's actually doing really good, and it's funny how you bring up Kickstarter program, because I just contributed. I'm going to contribute this week to the Steve Jackson's Ogre 6th edition. I'm gonna go ahead and give him my $100, but I think that bad boy is close to $300,000 right now.
They're doing Kickstarter for that, and it's at $300K?
I should be almost at $300K, because last time I checked, it was at $280,000.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised, because they tried doing a Kickstarter about a year or two ago for Paizo for doing D20 Modern over again, but calling it P20 Modern, and that fell short of the goal. I'm really surprised. That was the first Kickstarter I ever see fail.
Huh. I don't know how many failed and everything. I'm just very leery of, let me give you an example. I just saw someone do a Kickstarter for a board game that's coming out. And my question was, do you have any demo games? They said, no, we don't. And I said, well, why would anyone want to give you money for a product, especially a board game? So we want to see the demo. We want to see game mechanics. We want to see how it works for a game. I'm not going to give you $50, $60, $75 for a product that has not been created yet. It sounds all good on paper.
Right. Then it's like, okay, maybe they have a design that works well on paper. What do they know about actually getting the pieces made? What do they know about getting cards printed? What do they know about all of that type of stuff?
Yeah, and that's an issue.
Right.
When you donate to the Kickstarter, do you actually donate the money in, or is it just a promise to pay?
It's a promise to pay if it becomes fully funded at the date the Kickstarter closes.
That's when they'll pull the money out of your account.
Yep.
Oh, so you pledge the money, and then when
Yeah, it's almost like like a when you go on public television, it's like one of those public television pledge drive kind of things.
Yeah, and then you have the different levels of donorship, which is basically your different pledge levels for your PBS fund drive.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, but the funny that you mentioned about a board game. I just saw this on Friday at Grognardia. Apparently, WotC is reprinting the Dungeon board game.
Yes,
Yeah,
October.
I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah, that is incredible. I totally missed the boat on that game when it came out back in the day, and now if they're redoing the Dungeon board game or reprinting it, I'm definitely gonna snatch up a copy.
Yeah.
Well, see, now this is the good thing that you bring that up. You know, are y'all familiar with Wiz War? Y'all might be too young for that.
I remember Wiz War.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're close to my age. Well, you know, Fantasy Flight Games reprinted it. And I'm going to tell you something. They did a fantastic bang-up job on Wiz War. If they do the same thing with this dungeon game that they say that they're going to do, I say go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Fantasy Flight, I think, is also redoing Fortress America.
Oh, yes. And I've
No
been waiting
way,
for that
really?
thing for yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are. You got to see it. It's awesome.
I have the original with the Saddam Hussein box
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah.
And guess
oh
what?
My God.
That box is where's your money at. It's not the components of the box,
Right.
but it's the box itself
Right.
that's worth the money right now.
Right, because there's two different box covers. There's the Saddam Hussein version and the where they put glasses and a beard on Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the original, but I just see a lot of like the old board games that have been out of print for a while with inflated prices on the secondary market being reprinted, like Wizards of the Coast reprinted Betrayal at the House on the Haunted Hill, because that was going for like $300 used at one point.
Well, I don't know why. That's crazy.
Because no one bought the game at first, and it wasn't until it was out of print people realized this is a really fun game.
Yeah.
So everyone wanted
Yes.
it. So it was one of those everyone was late to the party.
I think
Well,
it's
I tell you, I got I got two brand new copies of the old game. And of course, I brought the new one, of course, you know, because they fixed up all the issues that was with the first one. Great game. Just played it last week.
Nice. Yeah,
I got eaten by the cats.
They really should definitely look in the reprint Spellfire. I had a lot of fun playing Spellfire.
Wow, Spellfire. That's a long time since I heard that.
Really? You had fun playing Spellfire?
Yeah, there was some good expansions in that game that I had a lot of fun playing it.
Oh, I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, shut up. All right, let's go into some sage advice since I just made Nick all sad.
No, well, not sad. Just no comment.
Master! Master! They're at the gates again! Master! It looks like another band of adventurers!
Adventurers again? Always the same. Coming to me for sage advice.
Sage advice at the chopper now. Anyway,
To the chopper, get down!
Resign or be prosecuted.
okay. Now random quotes. I'll be back. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, first stage advice, rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210, the hotline. First one comes in this. It'll be directed directly to DM Nick since he is our resident Hackmaster expert.
Okay.
Hey, guys. I have a few players in my group that have practically memorized the monsters in the Monster Manual. You can mess do if you want.
They're mesmerized by the Monster Man.
Apparently, I can't read. I have looked over some of the Hacklopedias for Hackmaster. Very good monsters, by the way. And I found the monster stats to be very similar. I was wondering, have you any tips for converting the stats for the monsters to AD&D monsters? Thanks, DM Joe.
Converting the stats, the first edition,
Aren't the stats the same thing?
they are pretty much the same. They really are. All you do is you don't add in Hackmaster, just to kind of clarify with everybody, like far as hit points is concerned. You do your standard hit dice,
4th edition.
plus you add a 20 hit point kicker. It kind of lends to the lethality of the game because you need those extra 20 hit points. Just leave that off. Don't add your 20 hit point kicker, and you should be good to go. I've gone through the Hacklopedias, and I've done a comparison with the Monster Manual and Monster Manual 2 monsters, and as far as I can tell, it's pretty much it was fully converted from one to the other. Now, some of the stuff that might be unique to Hackmaster, I don't know, one that leaps the mind, the creature called the Gummy Fiend. It's a giant creature that looks like a many tentacled horror that's like gummy worms. But anyway, I never used that one. But if you wanted to, you just convert over the stats. It's straight over. You don't even have to do any other conversion for it. Hit point, hit dice, armor class. It's all based off of 1st edition AD&D / 2nd edition, whatever edition you may be using. So now, if you were gonna do something about like converting characters, well, yeah, that might be a different issue. But yeah, as far as monsters, you shouldn't have to do really any conversion at all.
And that has to do with the 4th edition Hackmaster, not the basic one they send out.
Right, not the new basic that's coming out. And there is an advanced that's coming out, I think, this summer.
An advanced?
Well, yes, advanced Hackmaster.
You know what else I would recommend? If you're tired of players memorizing or being mesmerized by monsters.
Shut up.
However, I will tell you this though: look into the Tome of Horrors complete for the Swords and Wizardry game, because isn't the Swords and Wizardry rule related to 1st edition AD&D?
No.
The stats and everything.
Sword and Wizardry? No, that's like old brown box D&D.
Oh, I went back too far. What am I thinking? I'm going back. You know what? I'm being mesmerized by stupidity. So forget what I was saying. I was saying that Tome of Horrors would have been a great thing. There's 800 pages of monsters, and I swear to God that the stats were close enough that you could use that, and then convert over. But I guess maybe it's too far gone.
It's close enough, I guess. It's a little brown book, basically, but the original brown books. But
yeah, it's not really that hard because it's AC, hit die, hit points, special. I say look into the Tome of Horrors complete by Frog God Games. I think they have an example of some of those monsters, and if they fit, and you can easily convert them over to 1st edition AD&D, Lord knows, into Hackmaster.
Yeah, also mutate your monsters too. Just because. Goblin looks like a goblin, change the color, make him like have a bigger arm than the other arm.
And there's a great supplement for Hackmaster for that you can easily use for 1st or 2nd edition. It was part of the Hacklopedias. It was the last book in the series. It was called the Monster Matrix.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If you could find that, there is some great stuff. That's the book I used where, for even now, my players complain about the one-eyed red Venusian hobgoblins that I sent after them. Yeah, they tend to one-eyed Venusian hobgoblins.
Well, they're Cyclops then if they have one eye.
They were red, and Venusian variants, when you kill them, there's a 70% chance that they explode.
Oh,
great.
They're like the Draconians.
Yeah, they hated me for that.
Yeah, they're like those Draconians from Dragonlance.
Yeah, they hated me for that, and it was great.
I guess they were mesmerized by those too, huh?
Yeah, that's another thing. If he try to find that Monster Matrix, if it's still out there, check on eBay or Amazon. I would more than agree that's a great supplement to have.
Also, check out online. Go to Fantasy Monsters and stuff like that. Find mythological monsters. Make your own stats up for them, or just design your own creature from scratch.
There you go.
You can make up a DM Nick monster for all that mattered, right?
Mm. That sounds really, really scary.
It does. Okay, thank you, DM Joe. Oh, not that Joe.
Not that Joe, huh?
Next letter comes in from Matt. No, not DM Matt.
Not me.
Matt.
No.
Hey guys, was listening to issue number 28. Whoa, a long time ago. And there was a discussion about a person named Wombat. This always comes up every once in a while, I noticed. And it reminded me of a random encounter I had when I was 10 or so. I was sitting on the bumper of my dad's truck, and some dude in his late 20s came rambling by and looked at me with my friend in all seriousness and exclaimed, "Wombat!" And they continued walking around the block. This had nothing to do with AD&D, but that episode reminded me of that very weird childhood moment that is forever branded in my memory. Thanks for all the awesome shows. Keep it up, fellas. Matt.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Kind of freaky. Some guy just went Wombat and walked away.
What the world is a wombat? Is that the thing from Star Wars?
No, that's a wampa. A wombat is kind of like a. Isn't it like a? I'm not sure what it's like.
It's a small little rodent.
Yeah, it's like a rodent,
but it's a marsupial. So it's
from in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Noah, that they shot wombats in Star Wars.
No, wampas.
You sure it wasn't a wombat?
Yeah. Womp. You're thinking womp rat.
Yeah. There's womp.
No, if I want to see swamp rats, I know where to find swamp rats.
Womp rat, not swamp rat.
Oh man,
remember Luke said, I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home.
That was what
and they were no bigger
rats.
than 2 meters. Oh my God, I think I did that line by line right there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. You're a nerd.
Thank you. There we go.
Actually, wasn't Jason named Wombat too at the time? That's how the whole thing got started. You had a friend named Wombat or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, that's all the letters we have this week. If you want to write in, you know the address, you know the phone number, and we'll head into Table Manners.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, a fella knew how to judge a fireball on the fly and how far the cleric could push the undead he turned. I tell ya, with all these min-maxers and munchkins, metagame and power game, there's something missing that I'm here to learn ya. Now sit down and crack your book while I commence to teach you some Table Manners.
All right, hello everyone. On today's Table Manners, we're going to talk about the Forgotten Realms and playing there. So if I say anything, guys, I want you to chime in on anything that I might talk about. So, but this is a big subject here.
Yeah.
So the Forgotten Realms. Oh my Lord. I tell you, I love the Forgotten Realms. It is one of the older settings. I believe it's considered one of the oldest, if not the oldest.
No.
No.
It's not the oldest? Which one is?
Greyhawk, the oldest.
Greyhawk or in Blackmore.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew. Well, Ed Greenwood created the Forgotten Realms in 1967.
Oh, you're talking about that wise. I think you meant published wise.
Yeah.
No. Published wise, no. That's a whole different story because I don't think his works were published until the mid 80s.
All of his creature ecologies in Dragon, everything he wrote was written in the Forgotten Realms. It may not have specifically called it out.
Yeah, he would use stuff like the realms. He wouldn't, or
right.
Call
and the first mention of that was like in issue 30 of Dragon in October 79.
Yeah, see, so it comes around that time period. So the realms was something that was coming around during that time period. But I was looking up in the history, and that's what it was called. It was called the realms.
Yeah.
But I guess he created it out of his childhood dreams or his childhood stories, I guess he was a very imaginative child because back in those times, well, he might not have been a child in 1967, but in any case, he created this realm place. And it's kind of funny because as I was reading on it and everything, Wizards of the Coast, not Wizards of the Coast, it was a TSR, kind of changed because it was kind of a correlation of how to get to these realms from the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Saw that, and I saw that was really funny because they kind of pulled that out. That context out of the story and everything because they didn't want people to get confused with it and actually think there was a realms that they can go into.
Right. Yeah, that's right. When they were going to do the first box set.
Right. It was kind of weird reading that.
Yeah, they didn't want the whole association with the Forgotten Realms that there might be they didn't want to make it sound like that there could be a real portal to the Forgotten Realms in the earth, and And we're talking mid-late 80s when they were going to start this, and the whole thing with D&D being evil and all that junk was still around. So,
because I think what it was like parallel Earths or something like that. And it was really weird how they discussed it and everything. I didn't read too much into it and everything because I just wanted to get away from that because it sounded too kooky. But, hey, you got to admit, though, starting in 1967 and to what it is right now, it's just amazing. And just for those that do not know, the Forgotten Realms will be the default setting for D&D Next.
Oh,
really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Went back
Yes,
to
it is.
yeah. I thought it would be Greyhawk again. Surprised.
No, they're going Realms.
Yeah, I think Greyhawk was only for first edition because second edition was Forgotten Realms. 3.0 and 3.5, they went to Eberron, but I think that was just like a supplementary system. But it was still the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, it was Forgotten Realms was the main one. Eberron was something that came out after.
And they
third
had
was launched.
just a smattering of Greyhawk stuff. I think they did.
It's third
one
when it came out.
Gazetteer, and that was it.
When 3 came out, it was living for Greyhawk for the longest time.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember Living Greyhawk. They only made like one major book for it, I think.
Yeah, and then they went to 3.5 and switched over to Forgotten Realms. So
yeah, again, you see how it goes and everything. It's kind of weird. But now the Forgotten Realms. I mean, I don't know where to begin with that and everything. It reminds me of the Greyhawk. Greyhawk's a little different than the Forgotten Realms. I think that the Forgotten Realms is more fantasy. It is more, and I see this is the weird part here. People say, like, what do you mean by more fantasy? I think that it's more, there's more magic. It's a high magic setting.
Yeah.
Default-wise, it is a very high magical setting.
I definitely agree. Yeah.
And one of the things I found also unique, and I don't think Greyhawk was like this as far as I'm concerned. I don't ever think it was. The deities of the Forgotten Realms played a more major role in interacting with
Mortals.
the normal inhabitants, the mortals of the one.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Heavily involved with the mortals and making decisions of the world. Yeah.
Yes, definitely was that too as well. And like Greyhawk though, they have some awesome personalities. And and I don't want people I want people to understand when I talk about personalities, and so I was talking to some people last night about personalities, and the guy says, "What's a personality?" And I said, "Oh, here we go. A personality is like Mordenkainen. A personality is like Elminster. A personality is like the President of the United States. It's a very important person that has a following, not a cult following, but you see what I'm saying. There's a large group of people that likes them or dislikes them. So both the Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk, they all have phenomenal personalities and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talk about Elminster. Who else do we got?
Drizzt.
Drizzt, yeah, of all people. He's probably got the biggest cult following in the world right now.
Brunor Battlehammer.
Brunor Battlehammer. And so we talk about all the heroes, like Canterbury, Dragonbait. Do you remember Dragonbait?
Yep. Dragonbait from Azure Bonds.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's so many of them. And it just goes on. But then we also forget the bad guys because they're also personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like I'm trying to think of a couple, like Zaz Tam. He's a Halaster Blackcloak.
Oh, there you go.
I couldn't say he was a bad guy, but he was kind of weird though.
Yeah.
Sindre. Lord Cutter. I mean, it just is so many personalities. It's impossible. Manshoon. He was one of my favorites. I loved Manshoon.
Who was the one that was Lord Soth, or is that Ravenloft?
No, Lord Soft was Dragonlance, and then they pulled him into Ravenloft.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got confused. Sorry. But, strike that.
But there are some personalities real similar to Lord Soth, so no, it's okay. You can mess things up. We all make mistakes.
What I also noticed about the gods and the deities in Forgotten Realms, since it was so heavily evolved, they became more involved with the priests that followed them, that they gave them special abilities for following.
Oh yes, definitely domain.
That's where the priests were able to use different type of weapons, which
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
like
Yes.
some of the gods use like whips, chains, spears, things like when you got heavily into second edition more so.
Yeah, that was
Right.
like Lovatar. If you worshipped Lovatar,
Yes.
I say Lovatar. Some people say it's Lovatar. It doesn't make a difference. It's Lovatar. You use whips, I believe, whips and chains or something. That's her weapons. I thought that's great. I think that is exactly the diversity that a lot of gamers are looking for that
Yeah.
was found in first edition. However, there's nothing wrong with taking that material and putting it into first edition. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yep.
I mean, it's obvious if you worship certain dwarven gods, well, yes, their weapon of choice will be a battle axe, a warhammer. What else do they use? A crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatever the case may be, so on. But definitely, yes. Go
One
ahead.
of the things I found out very interesting, and even talking about, the gods, the different personalities of the realms, and the locations, I think all a common theme, or at least in my opinion, is extremely rich in detail.
Yeah, it's like water
It
deep.
is
Oh,
It is just amazing the amount of detail that Ed Greenwood and company put into not only the original great box set, even the great box set. Those two books is there's phenomenal information in there. It really gives you a good sense of what the Forgotten Realms is, the flavor in the text.
And they
Also, the different supplements. Like I'm looking at, the Savage Frontier supplement, which, by the way, goes hand in hand with Waterdeep in the North. You got to have both, hands down. And
Right.
just reading through several pages is so rich in detail. You almost get the impression of like this is a real place.
That's very good. That's a very awesome description of how the Forgotten Realms are brought out. And it doesn't surprise me that it turned out that way because I mean, just like you said, look how much work and effort, tears and sweat have went into this particular campaign.
Really? a lot
line.
of big writers pulled in for that. Jeff Grubb wrote the hardback. That was the Forgotten Realms book. I forgot the name of it. It was
Forgotten Realms Adventures.
That's it. Thank you. With the horse on the
Yes.
front cover. That was a great book for just some rich history, and all the deities were in there too as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, you talk about just like the 4 books I got right here of the supplements that were, and there were 6 that were done for first edition and 7 through like 14 or something like that were for second, but easily converted to first, obviously. You got Waterdeep in the North by Ed Greenwood, Moonshade, Douglas Niles,
Yep.
Red Wizards of Thay was done by Steve Perrin. Paul Jacks, I believe his last name is Jacks.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Jacks did Savage Frontier. I mean, those guys, they're well-known writers of gaming material, and they all do some pretty darn good stuff. So, yeah, you're right. They pulled in some really heavy hitters to do some work on this stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like there's that city system box set that gives you a street-level map of Waterdeep.
And you were describing that to me earlier before the show. I'm like, I'm kicking myself in the keister for not getting it back in the day.
Right.
And now I'm like, wow, I don't know
That's
why I
okay.
passed on that.
Yeah, 10 pull-out poster maps that all connect together to give you a giant map of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just amazing, the detail. And it even gives you the name and location of over 200 different buildings. So you know where every inn, tavern, blacksmith, guild, temple is located in Waterdeep.
Right.
That it's surpassed being your typical fantasy city to being almost a real city. It reminds me of like the Invincible Overlord, that city, in the amount of detail. Actually, there's even more detail about Waterdeep. But that's just Waterdeep. There's also where Baldur's Gate.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many iconic cities like that with that amount of detail available.
Yeah, there's so much. It's almost impossible to to really be totally knowledgeable in it. There's so much stuff coming out.
Right.
And now, even though we talk about cities like Waterdeep, and we talk about Tantris, and just going all over, I also want to cover like like organizations. And see, I'm jumping back and forth because I mean there's so much. And when you brought up the Red Wizards of Thay.
Yeah.
Now, when I do my campaign, I have a 13-part campaign. I think I mentioned this a couple times before, and it's broken down. It's really kind of a sandbox kind of thing. Because the character players can go anywhere they want, and I took all the modules from first edition and placed them in the Forgotten Realms.
Wow.
So they can actually see. Now, of course, when they go in levels, there's a lot of places they can't go. Either they're too high or they're too low for the module, so they'll skip them. It just depends on their choices of where they decide to go.
Mm-hmm.
Waterdeep, I'm gonna tell you why I love Waterdeep. One, it has no Thieves Guild as far as everyone's concerned, but we all know there's a Thieves Guild there. It's run by that gigantic beholder, which is awesome. You can't beat the guy.
That's funny you mentioned that. Just a little side trip on that. I recall when I bought that supplement, Waterdeep in the North, and I saw that cover. I'm like, what's the deal with the beholder and the chick holding the stake, out for the beholder here, and the dwarf with the peg leg? I'm like, that really intrigued me with the two pet intellect devourers right there. Right. And I remember reading that. I'm like, the beholder's the head of like the Thieves Guild. I'm like, wow, that's brilliant. I love that. I was like totally intrigued like that. That's something that like in the Forgotten Realms, you just don't see that coming. But it also gives you the idea of what kind of place the Forgotten Realms is. When you say it's like high magic, high fantasy, there's a good example. When a beholder's running your Thieves Guild.
Yeah, but see now, you talk about a beholder now, when I deal with other organizations like the Red Wizards of Thay or the Zentarum or Zentarum, but I'm going to tell you who I really like, and that's the Kraken Society. Because their boss is a huge Kraken.
Yeah.
So again, you're dealing with some super intelligent monsters who are controlling all these organizations, and all the little peons are all either humans or non-human, or whatever the world they are. You're thinking like, well, it's just a regular old king, a human king, or a human bad guy. Oh no, these are some serious, powerful monsters running these organizations. And I'm telling you, this is what I love about the Forgotten Realms, because this is the stuff that I like in my settings. The same old boring cliche. Well, who's the head of that criminal organization? Oh, it's a human dwarf with one eye. Oh, wow, that's lame. But then we say it's a beholder, you think like, oh no, I don't think we should mess around with that bad boy.
It's like, if he's running the place, I wonder what his minions are like.
His right-hand man is a mind flayer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me tell you, exactly. And then of course, we got the Drow. We're dealing with those knuckleheads and everything. And well, I mean, that's what they are to me. They're all knuckleheads. They're always trying to overthrow the top of the world. And who knows what they're going to do. I can't wait till that story plays out. But again, there's so many personalities. There's so many organizations. It just goes on and goes on. And Vince, you brought up the gods. I'm going to tell you something. Me, I play by the book, because everyone knows I strictly by the book 99.99999% of the time, infinite nines.
Right.
But my timeline is about 5 years before the time of troubles in my campaign. And you can't beat one of the greatest upheavals in a campaign the time of troubles describes.
Time of Troubles was an interesting read, I'll give you that. That's where the Avatar series went and started taking off.
Yeah.
Yes, and I thought that was just supreme in every way, shape, and form, because, I mean, look, you have, the gods are getting punished by the super god, the overlord.
Ao?
AO, or whatever they call him about. And then, he says, okay, if you all want to play like this and everything, I'm just going to cast you all down and make you all like avatars. And so in that case, now, you want to kill gods? You can kill them now because they're in their avatar form. They were that, they everything was stripped from them. I mean, they were still powerful and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And teach them a lesson. And of course, there was a big upheaval. A couple of the deities got killed. I can't remember some of the random. Bane was one. I believe Bane was killed.
Yeah,
All I
absorb.
think wasn't it?
He was, well, I mean, their portfolio. And that's what I meant to say. They have a portfolio that when their deity was slain by another deity, their portfolio, their powers were assumed by the being that killed them. Who took over for them? Was it Cyric?
Cirrus, yeah, Cirrus.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was and everything. But Bane was not the only one that was killed. Who was the other one? That Ner'zhul, the other guy, the two dead gods, they both got killed, and that one guy took over their portfolios. But things happen. That's how it works out and everything. It's very impressive. One of my favorites. And I believe is that when Spellfire occurred, or was that after? When was the Spellfire thing that took place? There's so many things that have happened because remember now, psionics did not occur until after the time of troubles, I believe. Oh no, I'm not sorry, not Sonics. What is that? The crazy magic?
Wild magic.
Oh, Wild Magic.
Yeah.
There we go. I got my mind over everywhere. We're talking about mind
And
flayer.
when you're talking about stuff like that, because the Time of Troubles and the whole Avatar series, if I remember correctly, that was when they were just getting more or less started with second edition AD&D.
Yeah. So yeah, but you know, it's just amazing how all that stuff occurs. I mean, it's just a huge history. Now, there's nothing. Now, what was the old green box set that deal with the ruins of Myth-Drannor? If you're all familiar with that,
I think it was the Runes of Myth-Drannor.
Yeah, Myth-Drannor. Yeah, that was a second edition box set. Yeah.
Yeah, see, all that stuff. I mean, if you wanted to go back, you can go back in history. If you go through the time thing, you could actually go back during that time period to try and prevent the disaster that struck that. But of course, you must have failed because they still had the ruins of Myth-Drannor out. So I guess it didn't work out too much.
Yeah, it's like the last Pathfinder game I played, and we actually played in the Forgotten Realms in an alternate timeline where the Thay took over everywhere except parts of the Savage Coast.
Right.
And they had went and killed all the magic users and basically just ruling things with the Iron Fist. And we were basically captured slaves of the Thay, and we escaped our slavery, and we're like, where do we flee to?
Yeah, where do we go now?
We were like, the ruins of Myth-Drannor, because the Thay won't even go there. So we actually made a home in the ruins.
That made sense. Like, let's go to the most dangerous place even the most powerful organization on the planet doesn't even go to.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, we cleared out a small little nook in it, and we were going to set up a home there.
Will brings up a good point when he's talking about there's so much detail and so much material out there, even at the beginning. It's great that there's so much of it, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. And what I'm kind of alluding to here is you got those people who are the diehard, if it's not this timeline, if it's not strictly like this in the books, they're very. Wow. I guess if it's not canon, then it's not like Forgotten Realms or whatever.
That's the problem with Forgotten Realms. Forgotten Realms had so much detail and history and a background that you were afraid to actually move around in it because you were afraid to change things. I mean, you could play in the world. Cause I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't really care, first of all. Right. Play in the world, do what you want. But there was a lot of DMs just like, whoa. Stay away from Waterdeep, stay away from Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate. That's all canon stuff. Let's stick over here where there's nothing written about it, so we can do.
It's like the people have the same problem with Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's like don't get hung up on the continuity. Make it your own.
That is a huge issue I see with a lot of games, and let's go back to those personalities. I'm glad you all brought that up. Because we was watching, Lord of the Rings was on TNT last night, so I came over to see a friend, and there was a couple people, we was over there talking about a couple things. And so they was talking like, well, if we played a Middle-earth role-playing game, and this applies whether it's the Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, or Ravenloft, anything with a timeline, and the canon and everything, well, how could I play that game without having to run into Elminster, or run into Gandalf, or run... And I said, listen, the world is huge. The chance of you running into, any of these personalities and everything, and anything you do will be inconsequential to the actual timeline.
Right.
So, and the canon will not be affected. You are a nothing. You are a nobody. You are a speck of sand on a beach or in a desert.
Well, I also look at it this way. I think there's a little bit of difference when you're talking about World of Greyhawk versus Forgotten Realms. The timeline in Greyhawk, this is just my opinion.
Oh, please.
The timeline in Greyhawk is, yes, there is a timeline, but it's not so structured around particular personalities that if your characters, and who doesn't want to be the center of attention in their game? You want to be it. You want to be the movers and shakers eventually.
Yeah.
So I think in Greyhawk, you can, for the most part, get away with that. Now, when Forgotten Realms came around, and when the flood of material came about, I want to be clear, when that flood of material came about, and that includes all the novels, I think a lot of people did get a little scared when they wanted to game in the Forgotten Realms. There was a little wariness. It's like, well, do we want to go over here? Is the DM going to allow us to go in this particular area because in the timeline in this particular book, this is going on right now? It's your game world, folks. Who the heck cares? Go and have fun in it. I mean, the books are a total different thing. Once you publish the darn box set and the materials, whatever materials, you're already on your own Divergent timeline. Okay. Right. So
yeah, it's just funny how it all came out, because I remember in the late 80s when this material was coming out, and I'll be honest with you, I am not a fan of those Age series of modules. I really didn't care about them at all.
Which one?
The Bloodstone Pass ones and the Maze of the Blizzard Minotaur or whatever it was.
Yeah, okay.
The Bloodstone ones. I didn't care for those modules. I never collected them because, one, I'm not into modules that are for levels 75 to 1,000,000 or whatever they were and everything.
Oh, yeah. Throwing a Bloodstone levels 18 to 100. Yeah, that was...
Right. But the Forgotten Realms was coming around into first edition during that time period from 86 on. I think that's when it started to infiltrate. I don't like that word, infiltrate. It started to, well, yeah, that sounds like a good word. It started to infiltrate into first edition during that time period, because first edition ended in 1989, I believe.
Yes,
that's second edition.
Yeah,
so it was slowly infiltrating, because I believe the thing you just said, the two great books that come in the campaign set, came out in 1987.
Yep.
87, and I do have the modules. I have all the N modules, and it mentioned that N5 has the official logo of the Forgotten Realms on it. And of course, at I-14, I got I-14 Swords of the Iron Legion. And it just goes on and goes on. So there was quite a few things published. I think it was for the benefit of those that are fans of Drizzt that stuff started coming out in 1988 concerning Drizzt, the Dark Elf or Drow Elf.
Yeah,
and all that. When it all started
Icewind Dale trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, but it all started coming out, and that's when the Forgotten Realms actually just exploded. It was a very explosive thing. I don't know what it was about it. It was something fresh. It was something new. But whatever, it is what it is. I mean, people liked it. And I'm just telling you, it's just going in, and it's going into the next edition of 5th edition. So you can't fight the beast. It's a wildfire out of control. But, I like the Forgotten Realms. It's great. I love all the great material. If I play first edition, I steal a lot of Forgotten Realms stuff and insert it into the Greyhawk world, because I think it just, it just makes it a better place. Now, let me say one thing about it. Yes, it is a high magic, high fantasy setting as far as the Forgotten Realms is concerned. It doesn't have to be like that. Just like I think Matt said it. Did Matt, one of you said, do it however you want to have fun?
Yeah.
I said that, yeah.
Oh, I guess all three of you did. I think all three of you said something about it. You don't, the Forgotten Realms, I make it a low to mid-level magic setting. That's how I choose to make it. I'm not a big fan of high magic settings. I like it like Conan, the role-playing game. I like it low and gritty-like. That's how I like. That's how I do the Forgotten Realms. Yeah, just do with what you can. Oh, there's so many supplements. The maps, it's unbelievable. Just get out there and get the stuff and use it.
Yeah, find the Forgotten Realms Atlas, that CD-ROM that has the fractal maps of the entire world, cities, dungeons, castles.
I have a copy of the Forgotten Realms Atlas right here in my hot little hand.
I do.
Remember when I got it back. I have a Dead Tree copy right here, Yeah, it's one of my prized possessions.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it is.
And that's good you brought up that interactive CD. Very difficult to find these days.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I have been finding out there, and for good prices, if you can get. Now, you talking about the Atlas, or you talking about the CD?
The Atlas the Forgotten Realms Atlas that's what they called the CD as well.
Okay, there's two of them. See, I'm thinking of both products. If you can get the Forgotten Realms interactive CD, yes, awesome thing to get because that covers a lot of detail. But if you could also get the Forgotten Realms the interactive Atlas, that's in that brown book, that thick one.
Yeah.
Another great supplement. If you
Yeah,
can
that's
get
the one
that.
I'm talking about. That's the one I got here. The same person who did the Atlas, Karen Wynn Fonstad, she did the Atlas of Dragonlance, Atlas of Middle Earth, Atlas of Pern.
Yes.
So, yeah, if anybody's familiar with those materials, knows that this Atlas is a fantastic piece of artwork.
Oh,
and
it is.
just some great maps in here, and really brings it to life. I mean, she mapped the plain of Tartarus.
Well, that's infinite, so I don't know how she did that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you want to meet Wolfgar and Dritz, talk to your DM. Maybe he'll allow it. I'll tell you right now, I will. I will not.
Hey, the Realms is a huge place.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's too big.
And they'll go with the whole thing if it's canon, not canon, whatever it is. Realms, ginormous place, and your in your party is just one story in a larger story of the Realms. Right. And you should find some great comfort in that.
Yeah.
You could be a part of the larger story.
Yeah,
it's just a little old fairy tale anyway. Yeah, I don't know if the players will ever make any, note or consequence in that game. So,
right.
As far as the main story is concerned. So if you don't want to use Gandalf or Elminster, put the names together. Make Ganminster.
Eldolf.
And don't forget, you can also throw in your Oriental Adventures into Forgotten Realms as well.
That's right, Kara-Tur.
Yes, Kara-Tur.
That's a whole big part of it too as well. Legends of the Five Rings, put it all in there.
Yeah.
Put it all in there. It's just so much you can do with this setting. It's just amazing. Just remember, that the deities do get involved. Now, I think the deities don't get involved as much anymore after the Time of Troubles, though.
Yeah, they kind of learned their lesson.
Yeah, they were beaten down into submission after that, and so.
Which makes me wonder if why the Supreme Overlord cannot handle Loth. Why does she keep popping up, doing all these horrible things?
I don't know.
She's evil. She's Loth.
Yeah, but you figure, being that he is the supreme god of all the gods, you figure he'd say, "You stop this lady." I'll step on you like the spider you are, or whatever what he might say to her. But it's just amazing that he just sits back and lets these bad guys do all this horrible stuff and everything. But when the good guys want to do something, they get punished, and
the old question of why is there evil in the world?
Yeah. Because without evil, you can't have good.
Yeah.
Well, then you just have neutral people then.
Exactly. So if if you wanted a god of good, you have to have a god of evil just to have the balance. Because
I just don't see how Loth is just getting away with all that stuff. She's just getting away with murder. Oh, well, yeah, that's Loth for you.
Yeah. There you go.
I know a lot of people have asked if they wanted to follow canon, what's the best way to start? Oh boy, there's Forgotten Realms, but
good luck.
From what I remember reading, I always generally started mine off with the Dark Elf trilogy novel books.
Yeah,
worked my way from there, going into the Icewind Dale trilogy, followed up Legacy of the Drow. There's so many different versions of what's the proper way to read through it. I can only say start with I would start with the Dark Elf trilogy or the Icewind Dale trilogy. That's probably the best places to start.
Actually, you know what else? Since you brought that up, that's interesting how you brought that up, Vince. Mm-hmm. If you want to follow true canon, and go with the real timeline, get the Forgotten Realms campaign book for 3.5. It's that real big, thick gray one.
Okay.
Have y'all seen that? Because it has the entire timeline for the entire game, which includes all the novels and everything that happens, if they want to follow true canon per the role-playing game, is to get the main campaign source book, because the timeline goes in there and it tells you everything that happens. Yeah, I mean that timeline is very extensive.
Yeah, but I was talking about as far as book novel wise. If someone wanted to read the novels.
Yeah, see, and that's the good thing about that timeline, because that timeline mentions all those things that happen, like Dragonbait and all those knuckleheads and Dritz and his Wolfgar and the dwarf and all the idiots too. You know, all those personalities, and it just goes on. You know, because they don't have too many novels on Elminster.
Well, there's quite a bit from what I can see on my shelf.
Yeah?
I count at least 4.
Well,
that's
Spellfire. He was in that one. Didn't he have his own book?
He had at least 4 books. One of them going to hell, coming back from hell, going back to hell again.
Yeah.
Oh, is that when he died?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like Elminster, Making of a Mage, Elminster and Mythdanier, The Temptation of Elminster, Elminster in Hell, Elminster's Daughter.
Elminster sings again, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Elminster at Burger King.
I can't tell you if all that stuff is
Oh,
canon.
wait a minute. They didn't write that one.
Elminster
Sounds-
goes to Burger
sounds
King,
like-
did you say?
Yeah, Elminster goes to Burger King.
You know, it all sounds like romance novels to me. That's what it sounds like to me. Or those Western books where there's 10,000 of them, and you think like, which one's canon, which one not? That's difficult. Yeah, that's a difficult question.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to put in the send you all a link to all of the Forgotten Realms novels out there.
Wow.
Broken up by series, and I'm just looking at this list. I'm like, how could anyone even possibly read all of these?
Well, I've read quite a few of them because I was into. There were 2 sets of books I always read. And there were the Dragonlance series, because I really loved the Dragonlance, and Forgotten Realms, because when that first came out, like Will said, everybody caught on, thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I remember, I think it was the Icewind Dale trilogy was the first one I picked up. I'm pretty sure of that.
That's the first ones I picked. Oh, I also picked up the ones with the the Rise of the Savage Tide. Did you ever see those 3?
Yeah.
Those are great books. Oh, I love those things. I love it when you deal with water monsters and everything. Yeah, so much
R.A.
stuff out there.
Salvatore, who did a good chunk of the novelizations for
what's
Forgotten
sad about him?
Realms. Huh?
What's sad about him is he wrote such fabulous books for Forgotten Realms, but if you pick up one of his just bland fantasy novels, it stunk.
Really?
I never liked them.
That's because Dritz is not in there.
I don't care about Dritz. I wasn't a Dritz fan. I just liked his style of writing and what he did with the characters.
I remember seeing a YouTube video of him. He was I think I spoke about this once before. He was speaking at some university about writing in his thing, and someone asked him, what's your favorite, when you do role playing, what's your favorite one? He goes, AD&D First Edition, of course.
Right.
He said if I ever had an opportunity again to play, and he goes, I think he said something like, very rarely, but I do at times. I like AD&D First Edition. So if you're listening, I'll DM for you anytime there, bud.
I'm looking on Amazon real quick here on Forgotten Realms novels in chronological order, part 1. They listed as Evermet, Island of Elves as the first book to read.
Interesting.
Oh, not at all.
Well, maybe if you actually went by timeline,
maybe that's
so it actually is predates in the official Realms history, the Dark Elf trilogy, whereas the Dark Elf trilogy may have been the first books actually released in our world.
Right.
Well, either way, it's only a penny. You can buy it for a penny. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was like a lot of my books I picked up at half price books in the clearance section for like 50 cents.
Oh yeah.
So you can find some deals out there on the novels because there's so many printings of them.
Well, when did that book come out there, Vince?
Which this one right here, by Elaine Cunningham in '99.
Well, that's weird because because that don't sound right. That's the first one to read.
If you want to read it per chronological reading order of what happened in Forgotten Realms, it's listing this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically in '99 they wrote a novel that predates Drizzt and the Forgotten Realms history. So it was basically like the prequels in Star Wars.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's
see.
interesting.
So if you were to actually read the books in that order, one, it would be really hard to jump between all the series. Because I'm sure it'd be like, okay, read the first book in like Baldur's Gate, then read the second book in Cycle of Night, and then the first book of Dungeons, and yeah.
All right, I'm disqualifying this list right now. First of all,
See there.
I'm
What
just,
happened?
This list
Sign of a true gamer. It is totally wrong.
totally wrong because number 13 on his list is Vampire of the Mist Ravenloft book. No, I've never read a Ravenloft book that had really much to do with Forgotten Realms.
Did someone get sucked into the mist from the realms? Maybe. Doubtful, but that would be like including the Lord Soth Ravenloft books in Dragonlance reading.
They don't list Elf Trilogy until book number 18 on here.
Wow.
No. Wrong. List disqualified.
Worst list ever.
Definitely worst list ever. All right. Well, Forgotten Realms, there's just so much to talk about. I don't know where to begin, to start. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to end it now.
All right, fine. Good. Yes, books are hard to pick out. I suggest actually you can contact any one of these authors on Facebook, honestly. I know I've contacted Lane Cunningham, spoken to her many times. She's a very nice woman. I bet if I asked her what book to read, she'd probably tell me what the book to read. It's not hard to find them. Just find them, ask them. They're very nice. So let's head into our next segment.
Oh man, what the heck is that?
Stand aside, you fool! I have a spell that will work here!
What do you mean I can't hit with that? Oh, right, fine. Show it to me in the book.
Welcome to Game Mechanics.
All right, game mechanics this week, kind of going with our theme of the Forgotten Realms. Going to talk about the barbarians of the North in the Forgotten Realms, the Uthgardt barbarians and the Northmen. And maybe see if there's any interesting rules associated with them, maybe some skills, and maybe how to kind of make a unique PC based off the different barbarian tribes of the North. So if anybody wants to, like I said, anybody want to chime in, go right on ahead. So basically you have two different tribes of barbarians in the North, and I'm kind of going with the Savage Frontier book. That's Forgotten Realms FR5, Savage Frontier. Mm-hmm. So you have the Northmen, who are described as bold, macho, impetuous, fierce in battle, and callous in their treatment of others. So they sound like really nice guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why not? Some of the things more specific about like weapons and proficiencies, they prefer the battle axe more than any other weapon. The other weapons like missile weapons, they only would be the closest thing they would use is a javelin, because other missile weapons are not considered weapons of a true warrior. So there you go. They tend to wear armor like leather, armor and shields. More your other chieftains might have stuff like chainmail or even maybe even plate if they're high enough level and they're the prominence they are in barbarian society and Northman society. I like one of the things that did say in here about the Northmen love a good fight. They like, prize physical strength and weapon prowess above other things. It is not uncommon to find a Northman king that is not at war. So they like to fight a lot. One of the things I did find really cool, at least interesting in this respect, is when talking about the Northmen is the Berserkers. And you could think of really the Northmen, obviously a real world analogy would be your Vikings. So amongst the Northmen in the Forgotten Realms, there's a certain amount of them that are Berserkers, and I was Berserker. My father was a Berserker. So
Get to the chopper. Oh, sorry.
Don't you remember the movie Eric the Viking?
Oh, yeah.
He talked like this because his father was a Berserker. But they give the barbarians in here, the specific ones that are Berserkers, they get a +2 bonus to hit, or they may attack twice per round and need never check morale. So that's pretty nasty. I was kind of thinking about this. I guess if you wanted to use that rule, that's really cool. But if I do recall, there is a Berserker class that was in Dragon Magazine. Yeah. But I think it was just an NPC class. I know it's in Best of Dragon Volume 2.
Wasn't it a second class?
Yeah, I think it was like just an NPC class. But who's to say you can't use it as a PC? If you want someone to play a Berserker, I can't see why not. Or you can use this rule too. If you were going to have... if you were going to create a Northman fighter or a barbarian or what have you, and there's a 20% chance per individual apparently that they might be, some of those fighters are Berserkers. Roll that percentage when you're making your fighter character, and you get those particular abilities when you go Berserkerwitz in combat. So you can use that little thing. +2 bonus to hit, attack twice per round. Or they attack twice per round and need never check morale. So that's pretty cool. So you have the different there's different Northmen, like different sub-races, I guess you might want to call them. So you have the Guns, and they are probably the most, I guess, civilized of the 4 Northman tribes. I guess they're more merchants and fishermen. They are found most of them are found along the Sword Coast, obviously. They only have a 50% chance to gain the benefits of a barbarian character class, and they're rarely Berserkers. Thus why they say they're probably the most civilized of the 4. Then you have the Turnish. These guys are interesting. They worship no gods, tolerate no magic users in their midst, but give tribute to the red dragons of the mountains. So they try to enslave all non-Northmen, and when visiting other lands, defile temples of the gods. So these guys are pretty nasty. I don't know if I would make a player character from that particular one, but hey, if you're going for a real dark type setting for Forgotten Realms, maybe our Turnish barbarian was something you want to go with. There's also the Rauthen and Luskanites. They seem to be on the islands out in the savage frontier. They dress in furs, wear horn helmets. Ooh, hey, look at that, Vikings. Their ships depict figureheads of red and white dragons, as do their sails. And you have the last one's the Rocklanders. And I thought these were the coolest of the 4. This description is so great. The people of the Purple Rocks were once a Gondarlian colony there. There are no aged here and no children. The skins of all the people are usually scarred and weathered. For Northmen, the Rocklanders are unusually warm and friendly, though their smiles may seem fake. They appear to worship the usual Northman deities, but their graven images of those gods all show many tentacle-like arms. Mm. The longships favor squid-like figureheads. The Rocklanders are worshippers of Cthulhu.
Oh, great.
That's how I would take that one. I think that would be a really cool plot hook. You hear about these Rocklanders up in the north. They're snatching other people from other tribes, and they're using them in some weird sacrifices. Then they want you to go and find out if you can stop this one Rocklander village, and you go in there and you see this huge totem of Cthulhu there. So I thought, or I was reading through it, I'm like, wow, how did I miss that before? That'd be a really cool plot hook for a game. So those are, in a nutshell, those are the one type, the Northmen. Then you have the other ones, which I remember from the Icewind Dale trilogy, the Uthgardt barbarians. And these seem more of the more traditional barbarian types. Particularly, it does say in the book that, they are standard barbarians as per Unearthed Arcana rules. But I think you could go a little bit beyond that. I think you can kind of look at the different tribes they have, and each tribe has different totems that they follow. For example, the very first one, the Black Lion tribe. They give there's a small little blurb at the beginning, like what their clerics and their shamans are, and what their beast power that particular cleric or shaman gets. Like the Black Lion tribe, the lion's roar deafens foes for 1d6 turns if they do not make a saving throw versus spells.
What was that again? The lion's roar?
Lion's roar.
Hey, that's Kung Fu Hustle.
I remember that movie. That was cool. But that was a pretty cool thing. But it says only Bogahart can wield this power, and Bogahart Blackmane is the head shaman of the Black Lion tribe. Well, maybe if you wanted to make a shaman, or a cleric of the Black Lion tribe, maybe you have a lesser version of that. Maybe you can only do it for 1d3 turns, or maybe only last for like a couple of combat rounds, or something like that. So, just throwing out some ideas if you want to make characters based off of these. Maybe also for the Black Lion tribe as a barbarian, if you're making a barbarian out of the Unearthed Arcana rules, maybe for a Black Lion tribe, maybe you get a special attack that's like a lion, maybe like a special. You could use like special claws as one of your proficiencies, for example. Just some ideas I was coming up when I was reading through things to kind of get away from just what's within Unearthed Arcana rules as a standard barbarian, and kind of make it to where if you're from a particular tribe, how is your barbarian character can be a little bit more unique in that respect. So you have the Black Lion tribe, Black Raven tribe, Blue Bear, Red Tiger, the Griffin tribe, which I thought was really cool, the Thunder Beast tribe. Their tribe is very interesting because the Thunder Beast tribe, actually, their totem is a Brontosaurus. And when I read through that, I'm like, why would it be a Brontosaurus? Apparently, way back in the ancient days, there were Brontosaurs running around in the north, and somebody along the line in one of these tribes decided that this would be a totem for one of the tribes. So, yeah, I thought maybe a barbarian from this tribe, if you make a player character of them, maybe they could do like special stomping attack. I don't know, something like that. So there's all these other different tribes in the in this particular section. The Grey Wolf tribe, Elk tribe, Great Worm tribe. Their tribe actually is led by a great elder worm, probably the only one that's in existence. So I always thought that was kind of interesting. If you're going to use this particular book and you want someone, and someone in your group wants to play a barbarian, look through this section, and there's some really cool ideas for a DM and maybe a player. They can sit down and make your character rather unique based upon your tribe. And also these tribes have rivalries amongst other ones. Maybe if, let's see, the ritual enemy of the Blue Bear tribe is civilized farmers. The Black Raven tribe, their ritual enemies is the Griffin tribe and foreign merchants and clerics. So those are little things that you could throw out there for someone making a barbarian from one of these tribes, like from Black Raven. If they ever run into someone from Griffin tribe, and I'm sure everybody's thinking, okay, Gryffindor. So I know everybody was thinking that. It's like, oh, they hate Gryffindor. Harry Potter. But yeah, but yes, Snape. But Black Raven, yeah, they don't like the folks from Griffin.
The Black
Tribe.
Ravenclaw?
So Black... Oh, no. She stole it from Forgotten Realms. But anyway, what would happen if two of those barbarians met? Would it almost become like a standoff between the two? Would it break out in direct hostilities? It makes for some interesting role playing going on. Or if you're playing someone from the Blue Bear tribe, they said their ritual enemies are civilized farmers. Well, what if you're adventuring other parts of the realms and you're going to the farmlands and you have a barbarian from this tribe? How's he going to treat these farmers? Is he going to kill them? Or is he going to be kind of, going to stand off a little bit? I don't know. So anyway, what do you guys think about some of this stuff on the barbarian tribes?
Well, I think you forgot two tribes. And that's the GTTC tribe and the N tribe.
N tribe?
Yeah. Now...
Oh,
get to the Chopper tribe.
Now
You forgot them too.
Well, you know what? There is actually one set of barbarians I did forget, and they're the actual barbarians in the Icewind Dale. I almost forgot about those, and they're almost set up the same way as the other Uthgardt barbarians. They have different totems for each tribe. The elk, wolf, bear, and tiger. And if I remember correctly, in the Icewind Dale trilogy, it was Brunor. No, not Brunor, but Wolfgar. He was one of those. Which tribe was he with? Tribe of the Wolf, was he not? He was with Wolf tribe.
I thought it was the Tuma tribe.
The Tuma tribe? It's not the Tuma. Really, it isn't. Took my father's sword.
That's another tribe.
Yes.
Oh boy.
The Sumerians.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's really actually I brought that up. You can kind of think of like these Northman tribes. They're kind of like a combination of like the Vikings, the Sumerians from
Conan.
Yeah. Kind of like that. So as a DM or a player, if you want to make a barbarian character, or if you don't want to, you just want to have a fighter class that has a little bit of like a barbarian flavor to it, this is a great way to go, I think.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Cool. Throw it out to people out there and see what they have to say.
Yep.
We'll go on to our next segment.
That is not dead, which can eternal life, and with strange eons even death may die.
I welcome the unwary to the Creature Feature Theater.
Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about dragons in Forgotten Realms. They're a little bit different than the regular dragons in regular Greyhawk of the Monster Manual. So a couple things to point out that are really different about them that they noted here in the book as my iPad closes on me. The number of attacks per round have gone up. The damage of breath weapon has changed, and the subdue rules have changed. Because remember, you can subdue a dragon.
Yes.
That was mostly... Have you ever subdued a dragon in first edition ever?
No.
No, I remember doing it back in Classic D&D because they had rules for it, but First Edition, I don't remember ever doing it, ever.
Yeah, you either ran away or killed them.
Yeah. But, all right, so they'll start, first of all, they do go to greater ages now because they have Great Worms and they have Venerable Dragons, which are a little bit older than the dragons listed in the Monster Manual. Now, let's see, number of attacks per round, they can do twice the normal attacks they normally did of biting and clawing in a single round. And that's within a 15-foot area. So it can be divided amongst a bunch of, say, 4 or 5 fighters or whoever standing in a line. So they could do what they have to do to defend themselves. That's a change right there. Mm-hmm. The breath weapon, which I think really powered these dragons up a lot. The fact was, let's see, they were allowed to 3 times in a 24-hour period was the original breath weapon ability for a dragon, depending on his age and everything. Now, they can do it as many times as they feel necessary within a 24-hour period, as long as it keeps within the hit dice of the breath weapon. So if they want to do a 1d6 breath weapon, they could do a 1d6 breath weapon every round up until the amount of hit dice for breath weapon is used up. Now, don't you guys think that makes it a little more powerful than a regular dragon?
Well, yeah, because I think dragons should be kind of powerful.
Yeah. Well, it also makes sense, though, that they'd be more powerful since it's a high magic setting. Everyone's running around with all this powerful magic, so the dragons would need to be bumped up.
Yeah, I kind of see it that way too. Yeah, I think the power curve does kind of go with the amount of magic that is in the setting. Yeah. So I think that in itself, you take that into consideration, I think that power bump when you're talking about stuff with the breath weapon and the attacks per round, it makes sense. Yeah. But if you take them out of that setting, oh wow.
Now, they have the one thing I like to point out here is they actually point out that a dragon has dragon fear, which I don't remember reading anywhere else. But it was something common that I've always used in my campaigns, that if you're this little third-level guy running up to this giant dragon, you're not going to be like, ha-ha, and running after him going to kill him. You're going to be like, oh, crap, there goes my armor. I got to go clean myself and run away.
Wasn't that also present with some of the dragons in Dragonlance as well?
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I like the fact that they acknowledge the fact that there's dragon fear, and that smaller creatures of smaller hit dice are going to be running away from these creatures because of the aura that they put out towards them.
Yeah.
Your player character is third level going to see a great worm is going to be like, oh, crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Just seeing the giant eyeball looking at them through the cave, they're going to be like, I got to go.
Yeah. I think I left the cake burning in the oven. See you later.
Yes. And now the subdue rules have changed quite a bit. Before it was just, haha, if the dragon's sleeping, you could subdue that dragon pretty easily, well, according to classic rules and first edition rules. Now it's you have to actually wake the dragon up and say, haha, dragon, I challenge you to a duel. And pretty much it's a quarter of the amount of damage each weapon does when you attract the dragon. Now, things like fireballs, anything that does like really serious damage will piss the dragon off to non-existence, and he will go after you without fury. But dragons will generally agree to subdual. It's kind of like going to the devil and saying, I got a temptation for you, and if you win this, you get that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Always listen to it. The dragons will always listen to your temptation or challenge, and they'll pretty much go through with it all the time unless they're totally evil. And most of the time, they'll honor it, depending on what alignment they are, lawful, neutral, or chaotic. Chaotic only 50% of the time. Now, let's say you subdue the dragon. Okay, yeah. So now it's your little pet. He's going to obey you, but not necessarily all the time.
Right.
It's on the alignment, and there's also conditions on the dragon as well, because some dragons will just be like, fine, you subdue me, take whatever you want from my treasure and get lost, and I don't want to ever see you again. It could be that type of thing. It could be he will follow you on to a certain point, and then once he sees the fact that you're beaten down to, beyond submission, he'll be like, haha, and stomp on you and run away. So it all depends on the type of dragon you do. Dragons do not like being sold in a common market, if you read this paragraphs here. And a lot of the times they'll try to get away. No matter what. They don't want to be caged like the whole King Kong thing. Bring submission. So, have you ever done anything like this, Nick or Matt?
As far as subduing a dragon?
Mm-hmm.
No, like I said, I either ran away or we killed him.
Yes. Actually, I have, but it was in more of the black box basic game that came out in like '89. It was subdued a red. We found a sleeping red dragon, so we kind of lit it on fire with a bunch of oil and burned it to death.
Now,
as first level characters, because we were 12 and playing this game and therefore had to do ridiculous things. And then we went to town and sold all the dragon meat.
I know in our Hackmaster game many years ago, I didn't subdue the dragon, but they subdued, they actually beat the white dragon into submission. they didn't just subdue it. They beat the thing. Because they killed its mate, they threw a phantasmal killer at it. Like, what would a dragon be afraid of when you use the spell phantasmal killer? And a
larger dragon.
It basically, yeah, or its mom.
Mom.
Yeah,
clean your room.
So yeah, they really beat that thing in the submission. I think they eventually killed it anyway.
I just like the whole fact that there's a chance to role play here with this.
Yeah.
You wake the dragon up, you go to the dragon, I challenge you to a duel. And the dragon's just kind of like, I'm bored. I'm just laying here on my treasure. Why not?
It's weird too, because I think it's one of those, the whole subdual thing with dragon is really a interesting part of that particular monster when you're dealing with them, but I think it's just very rarely used. And the whole role playing opportunity that you bring in up, Vince, can be so much fun, and it could be any sort of duel. I mean, I think that kind of harkens when you're talking about like a book, The Hobbit. They kind of had a duel going on with the whole trying to guess who he was when he was invisible. So it's like it might not be a physical duel. It could be a duel of wits. It
could be like Bill and Ted when they played the Grim Reaper, all those board games.
There you go. See, could be something like that. It could be a chess match. Maybe here you go. Okay, here, plot idea. Next time you run into a dragon, maybe this dragon has a particular fondness for the game of chess. But all of his chess pieces are all like life size. Right? And not only life size, but they're all like the knights are actually the armors of the knights that he's killed.
Like in the Harry Potter movie when they were all giant and they were on the board flying around?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Have a dragon with a gambling problem?
He has a gambling addiction.
A plot that you find that dragon and his chessboard pieces are missing and you have to go find them for him.
There you go. That's really good. Ooh.
Cool. All right. Well, dragons should be striking fear into people, and I've always still considered like a dragon's breath to be forging swords of magic. I don't know if everyone's ever heard of that theory or myth.
I think I have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think I saw this most recently. I read it in a Merlin, one of the Merlin trilogy things, and how dragons would forge swords. The wizards would bring ancient swords to a dragon, and they would breathe on it to enchant it with their magical breath, so the wizard would get the sword that they needed or something. I always thought that was kind of interesting, and you guys never use that method, I assume.
I haven't, but that would be really cool. I mean, depending on what the breath weapon is, it will give that ability to the sword, like a blue dragon using its lightning breath. Maybe that sword will do like some sort of like a shocking grass type hit. That'd be a really cool idea.
And
I think that's good.
The lesson they say about dragons in here is that dragons come with spellcasting abilities. Use them.
Yes.
A lot of people forget to do those things. They forget to use the spells that these dragons have.
Well, I think a lot of problems with dragons, and actually not the dragons themselves. I think the problem is people that use dragons, they don't play them, properly. And I'm not going to say that I'm the leading expert on how to use dragons, but let me tell you something. If I had a dragon and it has a breath weapon, it's using that breath weapon as many times as possible.
Yep. And with the spell abilities too, if it has them.
Of course.
Yeah, you have to remember.
Just because you're walking to a lair of a green dragon, well, if he's intelligent enough, he might have spells like fireball and disintegrate and web and stuff like that.
Right. You have to remember, these are intelligent creatures. They're not your random animal that's just going to lash out you in a violent flurry. They're going to have strategy. They're going to have tactics planned out. In their lair, they have other ways of defending their lair other than just breathing on you.
Yeah, they might even have minions of their own.
They'll have minions. They'll have traps. They'll have little maybe enclaves in the ceiling that they can hide in.
Yeah.
Or escape routes. they'll have lots of other things going for them besides just their raw stats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of people miss. They're not mindless monsters. They're actually these hyper-intelligent, in some cases, creatures that like to hoard lots of treasure.
Yeah, anytime I have a chance to play a dragon, I've always had the opportunity to role play a dragon. Never just they automatically attack.
Right.
Always with, what are you mortals doing here? Or something like that.
You have to ham it up with a dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't just go in there and have it attack exactly.
All right, cool.
Yeah, one thing I like to do is dragons can assume human shape in most cases. Use it to your advantage.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Cool.
Yeah, I like doing that stuff.
Oh, that'd be something. You go into the dragon's lair and you just see this human. There's no dragon, but there's a human trapped in a cage. You're like, oh, it's a prisoner of the dragon. The dragon's not here. Let's free it. And then as you're leaving, all of a sudden, there's the dragon as it morphs back into dragon form.
Chomp.
Yeah.
Bye, Nick. Your dragon food.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, you just got backstabbed by a dragon.
Ooh.
Anyway, tell us what you think. Write in. Let's go to our last segment.
As the secret portal yields to your efforts, you stand amazed at a vision from the most fevered dreams of avarice. Before you lies the Dragon's Hoard.
And now we are in the Dragon's Hoard, and since this is a high magic setting, it wouldn't be complete without highly magical items. And so we're going to go to the Moonshae for these items. The nice little island cluster full with magic and other things with a very Celtic flavor to them. And out of FR2...
What is Celtic flavor? Is it spicy?
I think a little mix between beer and... Oh, sorry.
Yeah. A little bland, but enough to keep your attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. And what we're going to talk about is just 4 of these items out of FR2 Moonshae. On page 61 through 63 has just a slew of unique magic items you'll only find in the Moonshae. One of them is the Cauldron of Doom. Just with the name alone makes it great.
Cauldron of Doom.
Exactly.
Is it rising out of the swamp with evil villains inside of it? I mean, what?
Well, evil villains do come out of them in a way, because when you throw a corpse into it, the corpse becomes a zombie. But instead of having 2 hit dice, it has 4 hit dice. Ooh. And whoever tossed the corpse in is its controller.
And it has armor class of 5.
Yeah.
How many times can you do this? It doesn't say.
No, so you just keep throwing bodies in, they keep coming out zombies. If you
4
had
hit
this...
dice, AC 5 zombies. Nice.
Yeah. This was like every necromancer's dream. You don't even have to cast spells to raise the dead in this case. You just throw in a body. Hey, you could have some grave robbing fun with this one.
No kidding.
Yeah. And then, so we have the Cauldron of Doom, and then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Avenging Hammer. It's a war hammer that you have to have at least an 18 strength to even wield. So, more often than not, if your players find it, they're not going to be picking it up because they're not worthy. Kind of think Mjorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mean Thor?
Yeah, Thor. Well, his hammer's Mjorn, or Mjornil.
Yeah, but Captain America can pick it up and the Hulk can pick it up.
Well, they have 18, 19 strength.
I'm just...
But this works as a +2 hammer most of the time. But when it is wielded against people wearing armor metal, or metal armor that is, including chainmail, if you roll an 18, 19, or 20, their armor is destroyed. It is rendered useless.
Wow.
I love that. I just imagine smacking someone in plate mail like a paladin. He's got field plate. Smack him in the noggin, and all of his armor just shatters off of him because of this hammer.
Yeah,
he's standing there in his polka dot boxers.
Right. Yes. Yes. this being wielded by just like a lone villain with a hammer wouldn't seem intimidating to most parties until they get that first hit and the paladin's armor falls off.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're going to start thinking twice about attacking this guy. Yeah. And now we're going to move on to a sword that from the Moonshae. That is the Sword of Hreimrich. I'm sure I butchered it, but oh well. Yes. And this is actually an artifact of the first High King. It's a +4 longsword for the most part, but it also has the ability of detecting demons within a 36-foot radius.
Wow.
Or actually, that's inches because 2 dashes. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 dashes.
So 360 feet.
Yeah. So, and it's usable at will. However, there's a catch. Should the beast Khazagoroth be within the range, the wielder must make a successful saving throw against spells or be compelled to battle it.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So basically, yeah, you have this great sword that's great for beating up demons, but if the right demon's nearby, you have to attack it.
Or the wrong demon.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Which can create some interesting situations if all of a sudden the fighter or the paladin in your party just starts running off by themselves. You're doing battle with something else like a room over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then lastly, though, we've covered weapons for the melee combatant. We're going to actually cover something for the more magic users. Well, the druid of the group. We're going to go with the Druid Staff. It's an oak shaft that lets you summon animals, except it summons all animals of the type you call within a 12-mile radius.
Oh, wow.
So if you're in a rich forest and you summon all the squirrels, you're going to have a horde of squirrels.
I am the Squirrel Master.
Yes. And once
Fear my roar. Meep.
Once all these animals reach the druid, it's just like they were under the control of an animal control spell.
Cool.
And then the staff can also, but that uses 2 charges when you do it. So you can
only 2.
Only 2.
Only 2 charges.
Yeah. If you only want to spend 1 charge, you can cast animal control on any animal in sight. And it's also a +2 weapon in general. So you get your +2 to hit, and it's dealing 1d6 +2 damage.
You see that saber-toothed tiger over there in the corner? He's going to be my friend.
Yes, he's my precious friend. And but we're still not done with this staff because it's not ridiculous enough as it is. It also functions as a python staff with all the characteristics of a staff of the serpent. The only thing is, though, if the serpent is destroyed when you're using it, the staff also goes away as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
A little caveat to that.
Yeah, a little caveat. And then also if you're wanting to spend multiple charges again, you can cast the following spells. Call lightning, dispel magic, cure serious wounds, plant growth, cure disease, speak with plants.
Speak with plants.
Yes.
That's about as useless as Aquaman using speak the fish.
I don't know. Some of those old trees may have some stories for you.
What are they going to tell you? The consistency of squirrel droppings.
Yeah.
Get to the oak tree now.
Then there's still more because it also has a monthly power. Once a month, you can cast at no charges. Wall of Fire, Transmute Rock to Mud, Conjure Fire Elemental, Insect Plague, Wall of Thorns, Conjure Earth Elemental.
Nice.
Yeah. But after using its greater power once, the staff only regains this ability if it's recharged in a moonwell beneath a full moon. Hence the once a month. So best case scenario, you're only able to recharge it once a month.
Okay, I see. When you use one of those heavy-duty ones.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. Needless to say, that's an item I think any druid would love to have.
You think?
Yeah. So, anyway, so what do you guys think of this wonderful menagerie of wacky and powerful magic items.
I dig that. I dig the cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
Instant undead army. Boom.
Oh, yeah. I could just see if you had like a rogue undertaker. As he gets the dead, he throws him in the cauldron, just slowly amassing his horde of undead zombies.
Cool. And he wins at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Well, King Kong Bundy would make a huge zombie.
Oh, yeah. I might actually give him an extra hit die so he'd have 5.
Next time you go to a wrestling event, get King Kong Bundy's autograph for Will.
Yes. I've actually never ran across him somehow.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've worked shows with like Greg Valentine and like Jimmy Snuka, Jerry Lawler.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka?
Yeah, I worked a show with him like 11 years ago.
Sweet.
Yep.
Now, I like that artifact, though. That cauldron's awesome. I think that would be a great, a side adventure or something like that, dealing with someone that's doing those zombie things. That's awesome.
Right.
There's like a whole bunch of other ones in there, too.
Oh, yeah. And that's just touching on some of them. I could even see if the Thaye got a hold of this, they just take the bodies of all their victims, throw them in. Or even the fallen Thaye when they launch like a battle. They just collect all their dead, throw them in the pot. We got zombies. Send them back out.
Yeah, we have a bunch of small undead pixies running around. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Zombie barbarian pixies.
That sounds like Yakmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds cool. I guess that's going to put an end to the show this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Be sure to stay tuned later on in the week as Will and I did a special insert for everybody out there. We won't tell you that's about, but it's some of the questions that people were asking in the forums. And then Will and I said, we will do it. We picked up the reins and we did it. So we stay tuned for that, and we'll be back next week with another brand new show. So keep it original, keep it old school, and consider Forgotten Realms.
Clerics use blunt weapons?
They can use any weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the realms, anything goes.
There you go. Ha-ha.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Later, everybody.
Roll for initiative.